Hey folks, this is your host, the one, the only, Thrifty Gamer 83 here, bringing you my review of Mercenaries 2 on the PC. Mercenaries 2 is really a great third-person shooter. It has nice, vibrant, lush colors, a great engine, and the controls are very, very responsive. Now, notably, I'm playing this with an Xbox 360 Afterglow controller, so yeah, I've got no mouse or keyboard lag. There's no input delay on the joystick, as it were. Well, gamepad joystick, whatever you call it. There's just no lag. It's a great game on the PC. Now, before this, my older brother had owned it on the PS2, and I noticed the watered-down visuals, the lack of graphical enhancements. It was really a mess. But on the PC, it's a whole different beast. It's an open world T for teen Grand Theft Auto clone, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. And I like that. I like that it deals with U.S. foreign policy tongue-in-cheek. It also reminds me of, if you have to look this up or Google it, I'll just tell you it, Zepeta Oil. There. Now you can look up Zepeta Oil. The more you know. And as well, it reminds me of the failed Bay of Pigs. Which again, Google is your friend, folks, so the more you know. Wow. So what happens is EA decided to treat the whole thing tongue-in-cheek style, completely, with private military contractors. And it's the emphasis in the origin of not really being too seriously, but treating it tongue-in-cheek and taking slight jabs at different economical ventures and investments of companies, which, didn't essentially work above board, but they didn't work below board as well. It has some of the War is a Racket emphasis of Major General Smedley Darlington Butler. Now, there's a name to Google, and this is the third strike for me. The more you know. So really, there are three things you can Google right off of playing Mercenaries 2. You have Zepeta Oil, you have the Bay of Pigs, and you have Smedley Darlington Butler. So there you go. Mercenaries 2, as I said before, treats itself tongue-in-cheek style. The controls are great. The visuals are really, really good. There's just something about Mercenaries 2 that I really, really, really got into. As a history buff, I think it's just that it took its source material from the real world and decided to apply it logistically and logically as what could happen. Now, bear in mind, you're battling against a tyrannical government. You're working for private military contractors. I choose Universal Petroleum. Big whoop on why it reminded me of Zepeta Oil. And as well, working with all the private military contractors in the game just really, really reminded me of the Bay of Pigs. So that's where you are at in Mercenaries 2. You're trying to overthrow a tyrannical president which had backstabbed you, betrayed you, and taken power in a coup. So, in that aspect, it wants to return the interests of the country to a moneyed class. So, guess what? War is a racket, and you're in it. I have to say I like the character development, and the characters really do have that tongue-in-cheek atmosphere and nature to themselves. They don't take themselves too seriously. They treat it as a running joke and tag and punchline. But the seriousness of it all can be underscored by what you see in real life colonial interests of the moneyed class elite and the political nature of a military-industrial complex with an overreaching colonialism to build outposts and to manufacture enemies to an extent. So, that's where you are in Mercenaries 2. That's where the story evolves. And it's really some of the story is a morality fable of whether you side with the guerrillas or whether you side with Universal Petroleum. As this is my first playthrough, I've decided to side with Universal Petroleum, and the next will be with the guerrillas. I really do like the visuals. I like the game engine. I like how you can sneak around subtly on enemy bases and just nab one of their highly valued officers and destroy targets. You're acting subtly, you're acting with stealth and with guile, and the enemy is just, sometimes they are very, very cautious, and sometimes if they sound an alarm, it is just suicide to try to take them on. Alright, folks, rant, rave, love, hate, click that subscribe button. You're keeping my show on the air. Have a good one.